NABSHOW in Las Vegas.
Hi, I'm Ashley Blankenship with InBroadcast. We're here at the 2016 NABSHOW in Las Vegas. Joining me is John Birch from Screen. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for asking us.
John, Screen has been around for a very long time. People assume they know what you do, but in one line, can you just kind of describe what Screen does?
Yeah, I guess we're the leading provider of technology for subtitling and captioning in the industry. But we're broadening out. We're trying to do more things.
So what's kept Screen at the forefront for so long against all of these other competitors out there?
I think the key thing is that as a company, we're really focused on that one thing. We're really interested in being the experts for that domain, a very niche domain. We're a family type company. We've got a lot of individuals in the company with a lot of experience and expertise, and I think that reflects. I think people pick up on that, and I think that's what keeps us going.
So what does Screen pride itself on in keeping this motivation for so long?
Pride, well, I don't know as if it's pride. I think it's an interest and a passion. Sure. Everybody that works for Screen is really passionate about what we're doing in the industry, what we're doing, the subtitling. There's a lot of interesting aspects to subtitling. There's a lot that you can get into in terms of the languages. There's a lot of technical stuff, but there's a lot of business stuff as well that's really interesting and engaging. So I think that's what keeps our team motivated.
Right, that's so important. Where do you see the biggest threat coming from?
There's a number of different directions where there's pressure on the company, that's for sure. I think the biggest threat is probably the move to IT in general. But there are other sort of competitive pressures, things like other vendors are taking on board some of the aspects of what we do, the captioning and the subtitling. That's a new thing, sort of the rise of channel in a box, the integrated solutions that are now available. And in our past history, 5-10 years ago, that simply wasn't the case. There was a specialist for every aspect of broadcasting. So your character generator providers, graphics, subtitling was separate, playout was separate. But there's now this fusion and this merger. So that's also pressure on us.
So when you lose people in the company, how do you manage to fill that gap in such a niche? That's
a really difficult question to actually answer because it's not something we experience. To be honest, we don't lose people. It's not a problem that we're faced with.
You find a good company, you stick with them, right?
I've been with Screen for over 15 years. I've got colleagues who've been there 20, 25 years. So, I would find it hard to find somebody in Screen who'd been there less than 10 years.
And how do you find it working with other broadcasting manufacturers?
That's a mixed bag. There are some companies that are very open to working together. There are other companies that are still sort of stuck in an old school mentality. I really, really believe that to survive now in this industry, you've got to be collaborative. The partnerships thing, I've been doing the partnerships role now for about 10 years. And prior to that, I was sort of on the development side. And it's changed in those 10 years. It's changed from being a name on a board, we're partners with X or Y, to being a little bit more sort of like, yes, our systems can talk to their systems. And now where we're going is collaborative design, actually deliberately trying to make products that work together rather than trying to join them together after they've been independently developed. So
with all these changes, how has that affected Screen?
Yes, I guess you could say we're trying to change the company from the inside out. You can't stand still. The companies that stand still, a lot of them aren't here anymore, or they've been bought by other companies. So you've got to keep reinventing yourself, and that's what we try and do. We're always looking outside the company. The interactions that we have with other companies are very important to drive how we structure ourselves internally.
It seems like everything's moved forward in IT infrastructure. So how has Screen made the transition with that?
Fairly recently, we've transitioned our core products to working on virtual platforms and on customers' own hardware. Prior to that, we were supplying a complete package, hardware and the software sort of pre-packaged and pre-configured. We have responded to the sort of industry trend to the IT/IP deployments, but to be honest, I'm not. It's been less. There's been less take up of that than you would expect from the media coverage. I mean, I think in certain areas, IT has really dominated and people have adopted it really rapidly. But I think there are other areas which are lagging behind, and I think we're in one of those kind of bubbles where it's going to take a little bit longer before there's a real transition across.
Where does Screen see the industry going in growth areas in the next 3 to 5 years, would you say?
OTT, online delivery of content, linear style broadcasting moving across to the internet space is going to be an ever-increasing trend. That's a very difficult one for companies like us to deal with because the internet space is quite different from the broadcast space, the linear broadcast space. There's more constraints and more control on the linear broadcast space, and the web is a sort of Wild West frontier. So that's very challenging for us. The business models in the online space are very different. So I suppose the strongest or the biggest change we're going to have to make is in our business models and move from a kind of CapEx retail model to a services based model in order to work in that space.
Right. So John, if people want to know more about Screen, is there a website somewhere they can visit to see more?
Yeah, if you just log on to www.subtitling.com, that'll take you straight to our website.
It's very informative. Thank you so much for talking to us, John.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Of course. I'm Ashley Blankenship with InBroadcast.